It's been a minute, but here we go. The Ferrari Road to Glory, which we only done 3 races of before I took my break. Now we're going to continue this series. I have some updates planned for the next race, hopefully, and beyond, including some different liveries, which hopefully should spice things up. Now guys, there's big spoilers, big spoilers ahead. So if you haven't seen round 3 in Australia, the previous race, click on it right now, link in the top right. 3, 2, 1. So, jumping into this weekend, we lead the Drivers' Championship by 4 points over my teammate Charles Leclerc. Hamilton equal on points in 3rd with Perez 4th, Verstappen only P6 so far. However, the last race was a big one. We had a bit of an issue which brought the entire field back together. We had a mechanical failure on the ICE, which essentially meant we scored a big fat 0 and everybody else scored a lot of points, bringing the championship back together, having secured back-to-back podiums in the first 2 races. Oh no. Oh no. Oh dear, oh dear. Well. Hello, mechanical failures. So with that out of the way, a bit of a setback. However, we do get extra R&D points, which I believe we already spent at the end of the last episode, so we had to kind of extend it to make it a bit longer time-wise. So all the upgrades were done at the end of the previous one. Again, go check it out. The forecast this weekend, though, has a lot of rain for the main race. Also, it's the first sprint race of the season. We're doing, hopefully, a single season of this, and it's going to be the entire 23 races with all 6 of its sprints. For this one, we have 4 upgrades on the car, 1 per department, and hopefully that should give us a bit of a boost on performance, and hopefully everything goes according to plan. We also are going to put on a brand new ICE, which of course is what we lost in the last race, and we are one of the stronger teams heading into this race. Haas also bring in big updates along with McLaren, but we are getting very close now to Red Bull in terms of the performance chart. So we are right there, and you can see the results so far in the first 3 races. Jeddah could have been a win. We got picked on the line. Literally, we couldn't quite get it. Photo finish at Jeddah versus Leclerc in that race. Practice-wise, we jump into FP1, the only practice session before we jump into qualifying. We had actually pretty decent tyre wear. I mean, around here the fronts don't wear, but the fronts are not the tyre that gets tested the most. It's actually the rear that gets hammered around here. Pace-wise, looking pretty decent. It took me a minute to get comfortable around this track. It's a very tricky circuit, very low grip, especially on the rear, and something which I had to kind of get used to with my new pedals and my new wheel, of course. So that's going to take a bit of a learning phase, definitely for sure, and could be the case for the next few races, which may set us back pace-wise. Anyway, into qualifying, and jumping into our first qualifying lap, first run, we outbroke ourselves a little bit, running deep into turn 1, just braking a bit too late, trying to push a bit too much, making our way through the castle section. Now you can see Logan Sargent, currently on an outlap, just gets out of the way in the worst place possible. I mean, yeah, really not ideal. Optimal, not really. Definitely more time to find. 39.9, and we do go P3, only 0.3 off Verstappen, which is actually pretty encouraging. So that tells me we can fight for pole, because between turn 1 and Sargent, we had a bit of, I'd say a good half a second at least to gain there. So with that said, Verstappen actually set a new benchmark, a 39.4, 0.2 quicker. So we now have to find those 3.5 tenths plus another 2 to get pole. So I said half a second before, make it 6 tenths, and that might just get us in P1, depending on what happens on these final runs. It seems like Verstappen's actually stayed in the garage, and also George Russell, who both went out before, you can see on the minimap, they're still in the garage, so they've gone early and are not going again. In the meantime, you can see we find 2 tenths in turn 1, so we make up that time, and we find some more through turn 2, another tenth to be precise. So already 3 tenths up here with 30 seconds to go on the clock on our final attempt. Making our way then through turn number 3, now turn 4, just a series of 90-degree corners, no real, spectacle here in terms of the corners around Baku. Now making our way into sector 2, we go purple in the first split, up by 4.5, make it half a second now as we approach the castle section. First off, this hairpin in which we just locked the right front slightly on the way in, so we don't really find too much time. Then through the castle in fourth, then dropping to third as the checkered flag drops, trying to get the exit here and look to improve as we find a whole chunk of time through there, and we're now up by 8/10 of course without the traffic of Logan Sargent. We are flying on the anchors down into the left, trying to make sure we keep it out of the barrier. We lose a little bit of time there as we absolutely nailed it on my previous attempt, and now through the last braking zone of the lap we more or less keep our advantage intact. So barring any surprises, this could be a potential pole lap. We're about to find out. Here we go then, P7 as it stands. We're going to go to the final run to the line, 2 minutes 20 on the clock as the checker flag has now fallen, and we are going to set a 1:39.1.
Fantastic, you've got pole position.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Martinez lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Perez, Norris, Hamilton, Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Russell, Ocon, Gasly, Albon, Magnussen, Stroll, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Bottas, Joe, and Logan Sargent. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Here we are then, time for the sprint race at Baku. P1, hopefully we can try to look to convert into a win and start the main race, which will be wet on pole position. Verstappen just behind Leclerc P3, so it's a 1-3 for us. Red Bull right there in 2-4, and they kind of need the points. Either way, at the end of the formation lap here, just trying to get a last bit of tyre temp. It should be a decent race. I want to try and make it as boring as possible from my perspective, so just try and win. Fuel is a bit more on the conservative side, 1.5 laps. Everyone is on mediums, and this will give us some good intel before the main race. So yeah, let's just get to it and let's see what happens, and hopefully by the end of it we get maximum points. So let's get into it. Time for the race at Baku. Here we go then. My race starts are a little bit sketchy with this new wheel and pedals. Still learning. My revs dropped quite a lot there. Although we just get across Verstappen to cover him off. That was the absolute most critical part of the race start. Oh, we're a bit deep. That's almost a barrier. Verstappen also having to get out of it behind us. That was a little bit scruffy. Had to readjust there for the fuel load. Wasn't really ready for it. And Verstappen goes up the inside. We're going to hold our own and defend P1. I think we should be okay from this point on. Just had to weather the storm early on. Missed downshift there. Bit wide of the apex. Very scruffy opening lap. But we should hopefully now start to settle into a rhythm. Tyres are nice and warm. We get a nice little cut of the apex there, which gains us a nice bit of time. We seem to be pretty strong in all three sectors around here. There's not really a deficient sector per se, so that's a good sign. But the first thing we're aiming for is to try and break DRS. Speaking of which, our DRS has broken and is stuck shut. So if we were to get overtaken, that would be bad news. So even more reason now to try and stay in the race lead in this initial part of the sprint. Let's use the battery then. Let's try to open the taps and pull away from Verstappen and break DRS. We've got one more lap to do it. So let's see if we can achieve it. That was nice through there. We're just starting to get the gap. I've moved the brake bar stand to 56. We're getting a bit more comfortable now with the car. Had it on 57 just as a bit of a precaution to avoid rear locking, but now we're starting to get comfortable and we nearly have the gap. We're going to keep the battery on here just to lock it in because there's DRS out of turn 2, but I think we've got it. And we've got Verstappen at bay. Good start.
being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
There we go. Good stuff. Let's try and manage it now. Hopefully Leclerc can get through. I might try and help him to get a 1-2 finish. Verstappen closing in. As Leclerc goes through, they might just get DRS as they were both burning and pushing. I think we've got a good enough exit out of turn 1 to stay ahead. Leclerc though has convincingly got ahead of Verstappen, so 1-2 for Ferrari halfway through the sprint. Okay, Leclerc within DRS. I don't entirely mind. It stops Verstappen from overtaking, and also Perez is out of DRS range. Rear tyre wear is really high, as you'd expect around here. Leclerc may even get the run down to turn 1. I think we're going to be okay though. We're just going to have to work together to make sure we secure the 1-2. Hopefully though we finish ahead. Let's see if Leclerc does get the run out of here. I'm trying to save battery, as we used a lot in the initial phase. Decent exit. Leclerc will close. I will let him go for now. And we'll just sit behind. We'll get him later on in the lap. As we have a bit of movement there. Let's see if we can try to drop Verstappen out of DRS. We're going to work with Leclerc. Verstappen will have DRS on me. Leclerc is pretty speedy on the straight, but we're going to go through. And we're going to try and get this gap on Max Verstappen. Might even let Leclerc back through on the next straight to try and see if we can get a gap.
And that's just 5 laps of fuel remaining.
Yep, we're going to let Leclerc through. Verstappen still has DRS, but we're trying to work together here to push and get a gap opened up. This is where we're really strong. Through the castle, we're able to just get the car turned around. Look at that, we've actually got the gap to Verstappen here for the first time. This could be critical. I'm starting to struggle quite badly on the back end. Although we're all sliding around, but just got to be careful. I'll move my brake bias back up to 57 to try and have a bit more stability, a bit more safety. But I think we might have it. Verstappen doesn't have a great exit. I think we've got it. I think we've managed to break DRS on Max, which is absolutely massive. So now we can just sit behind Leclerc and just slowly prepare this race win, or sprint race win, should I say. Ooh, okay. Perez overtakes Verstappen. Interesting. So Red Bull may be trying to work together here, but Perez definitely picking up his pace. Last lap. I'm going to try and pass Leclerc at the end of the lap, so just trying to save a bit of battery. Leclerc trying to make a run for it, using full power. This might be close, actually. He's got a decent gap. We're going to use everything now, but I'm not sure if we're going to have enough battery. Leclerc's not even flashing yet. Now he's flashing. Here we go, photo finish, possibly. I think we're a bit far back, it's going to be close. DRS now open, we're using everything. Can we steal it out the line?
Thank you. I need a moment. Well done, mate. Well done. That's a great finish. You've really stepped up and achieved what we asked you to do today, so good job.
And a warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku, and home, of course, to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today. So our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes and hopefully out of the barriers. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Martinez lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Russell, Hamilton, Ocon, Gasly, Magnussen, Albon, Hülkenberg, Ricciardo, Stroll, Joe, Sargent, Bottas, and Yuki Tsunoda. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
0.03. That's how close it was. But we got the win in the sprint. I didn't think we were going to get it, but we just gained enough at the line to make it work. Either way, starting P1, another exciting race should be ahead of us because we have rain, which should be very spicy. Now, strategy for this one is a bit different. I'm going to run 0.5 extra fuel. I think that might be too much, but I don't want to risk. We've got a decent car, decent pace. We don't have to go too low. We should be able to save fuel in the wet weather conditions. And right now, as you can see, it's actually pretty heavy rain, not just light rain. So we're on inters, but it's on the more damp side for now. Either way, besides that, the setup's going to stay the same. I'm happy with how the car works. The key thing here is trying to find our rhythm and readjusting to the wet. So the AI could well be quicker than us in the initial phase until we get comfortable with these conditions. Either way, we're going to see what happens. We're going to go for the formation lap, try and get the tyres warmed up and send it in the race. Again, hopefully get an okay start, hold the lead and take it from there. Good thing is no DRS in the rain, so that could be a key factor. Anyway, like, subscribe, and let's go back to back. Here we go. Going to run low revs. Off the line, bit of wheel spin. It's good though, we'll take it. We hold the lead for turn 1. Into turn 2, going to brake nice and early, get the nose in. And now we just got to try and find that exit. There we go. Lovely. Great start. Running the lower revs was key. Let's be careful here. I have to readjust all my braking points. Also, it's my first time in the rain, I think, with these new pedals and this new wheel, so we're braking extra early. And even then, it's not enough as we slide through the chicane. I'm on 57 bias. I made that adjustment during the formation lap. That should be fine. Just going to take a second here to adapt. I'm okay in the corners, but the ones that require heavy braking are just a bit more of a challenge. I want to get a weather update once we're on the straight, just to see what we're looking at for this weather forecast. I was a pretty good driver before on my old wheel in the wet weather conditions. We're going to find out if the pace translates to this new wheel. Oh man, that was close. We brushed the wall. Luckily we managed to drift the car and hit it side on. I feel like I'm struggling though a little bit. My traction's good, but my braking's awful. So I'm getting good exits, but I'm really bleeding time. On corner entry. Big moment. I'm actually going to let Leclerc go for now. If it means Ferrari win the race in the hands of Leclerc, then so be it. Here comes Checo. I'm trying to hold my line into turn 1. And we can just keep the Red Bulls at bay, but Leclerc can open a gap, then that's not the worst thing in the world. But Leclerc taking a very defensive line into turn 2. However, the Red Bulls also battling here, so we're going to try again and go back ahead of our teammate. Yeah, I've got no confidence on the braking, although we do nail it around the outside of our teammate.
Virtual safety car, virtual safety car. Reduce speed immediately and keep a positive delta.
Wow.
Drop your speed, our delta's too low and we're going to risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately.
Perez, 5-second penalty, so something happened there, possibly. Either way, we got the lead back at the right time. Let's just cruise for now.
Okay, VSC ending. We're going green. Maintain positive delta until the green flags.
Good restart. Managed the delta really well. Leclerc got caught out. Oh wow, Perez pits. Also, Piastri going for the move on Verstappen. I'm not comfortable right now. I am going to let Leclerc go. We've got a bit of a gap behind him, so I'm happy to sit in there and try and get comfortable. Hopefully we can stay in the race and we can try and fight back later on, but for now I need to find my groove in the wet conditions. So let's try and boost the team's chances of getting a race win by letting Leclerc get away with it. Yeah, I'm way more comfortable just sitting behind and following Leclerc at this stage of the race. This is better for us and our pace. I'm getting a nice slipstream on the straights and we're pulling away slowly from Verstappen. So I'm happy to stick with this and kind of learn the braking points and get comfortable.
Inter seems to be the fastest tyre for now.
Okay, so no weather update per se. As we lock up into one, got the car stop though. Decent pace, but Leclerc still quickest overall. But we can manage, this is decent. Hopefully we'll get stronger as the stint goes on and we get comfortable. Oh, understeer. One bit of wrong curb or something and you just lose so much time.
The rain's getting lighter now, but it's going to take a while for the track to dry out.
Okay, so we're entering the final stages. I feel like I've got a lot more pace now. I think I'm starting to get comfortable. I'm starting to find that rhythm, so I'm trying to find a way to pass Leclerc now, I think. Verstappen's starting to catch up as well. Personal best for me on the last lap, and I'm just all over Leclerc now, who seems to be struggling. So we're going to try and look for a way through here. Using high gears and also late downshifts into the corner seems to be the way to go. Let's see if we can try and get Leclerc here. I'd like to get ahead before turn one, just so that I can make the corner my own. Just like that. Brake early, just to avoid locking up with the overspeed. Right, let's see now that we've settled into this race if we have the pace to try and now to start to open a gap up. You can see already on the exit, gaining a load over Charles. We'll use some battery, put some daylight between us. Checo went quickest just now into the 55s, mid 55s. So the track also may be improving, which maybe helps us and suits us a bit more, who knows. Either way, we're starting to really stretch our legs now, and the gap is growing. We're going to drop into the 56s here, most likely. Although, to be fair, we're going to lose some of that on the run to the line as I was overtaking Leclerc. But there we go. That's a bit more like it. And look at the gap. This is our time to shine. Let's make it count before we switch to dries. But yeah, feeling a lot more comfortable now with the car. I needed those 6, 7, 8 laps just to kind of find the groove. Yeah, the track's definitely starting to get a lot quicker now. Purple middle sector. I don't know if we'll improve on this lap, but pace is looking healthy right now. So I'm just going to keep it rolling, keep it going. The higher gears working well for me. Gap now 3 seconds to Leclerc.
The radar showing a clear patch on its way. There's about 10 more minutes of this rain.
Hit the barrier there. Vehicle condition.
No need to worry about the tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good.
Very lucky. Close escape. Rain has just stopped as well, or is about to stop. It's a bit more heavy in this part of the track, but it isn't as heavy in the other part. We're very close now. Ooh, that was close. Oh, I lost like 4/10 there. I was flying in the first sector. Still, we're really, really quick compared to everyone else. Still not even at the halfway stage yet. Long way to go in this race.
We're looking at some imminent gearbox issues, I'm afraid. Watch out for jams and misgears.
Oh, wow. No. What? No smoke? Gearbox? No. I swear, if we're getting this thing again where when you replace a component, it just keeps breaking, that just really sucks.
It's never an easy race here in Azerbaijan. There's drama around every corner. but they've come through to take a brilliant victory here today. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari.
So that is a bit of a blow for the championship. I mean, luckily it's only round 4 of 23, and a good thing we won the sprint. However, Charles Leclerc picks up the win and also gets the fastest lap of the race, so he does bring home maximum points on his side of the garage for the team. So at least the win still comes to us rather than Red Bull. Verstappen finishes second, Lando finishes third, so that's your podium and top 3. If we look at the combined results of the weekend, we finished in 7th overall. Leclerc with a very strong weekend. And if we look at the standings, you can see Leclerc is your new championship leader. Verstappen also overtakes us, so both of those guys jump us in the standings. Hamilton also equal on points with me in 3rd place. But crucially, Leclerc leads by 19 over Verstappen, and that's all we have to worry about at this stage. Hopefully we can break this kind of chain where you replace a component, another one breaks. If I feel like we're hitting that kind of phase where you keep replacing and breaking, then we will turn mechanical failures off. So we'll give it a couple more races and see what happens in the future. Either way, guys, that is it for this weekend's action, qualifying, sprint and race. Like and subscribe. First laps in the wet, and the pace was really strong towards the end there, and that's very encouraging. Either way, guys, cheers for watching. As always, a big shout out to the channel members for supporting all the content. Check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them already, along with also my channel sponsors linked down below. And yeah, guys, cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and it's goodbye from me.